Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and in this week's vlog you will see the first of 4 interviews which I recently did with Dutch singer, songwriter, producer and composer Rob Bolland. In this week's vlog Rob will share the story behind the Falco classic Me Amadeus. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and very important, also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, the story behind Me Amadeus by Falco, my interview with Rob Bolland. Enjoy! Rob Bolland was born on April 17, 1955 in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. He already developed his interest for music from an early age. Together with his brother Ferdi, he did form the duo Bolland Bolland. Under that name they released singles such as Wait for the Sun, Summer of 71, Spaceman, You're in the Army Now, Heaven Can Wait, 10 American Girls and many others. They also wrote and produced tracks for Dutch acts such as Goddess, Wow and B.E.D. But they're mostly famous for their tracks for the late Falco. For this week's vlog I sat down with Rob Bolland to ask him about the story behind Me Amadeus, a track from Falco which became a worldwide hit in the mid-80s. My first question to Rob was about what age he started to listen to music.
Well, that must have been very early, I think, in life. But the first thing I could really remember is living in South Africa. I was born in South Africa, then we moved to Holland and Germany, and then back to South Africa. Oh no, I remember. Well, of course, the nursery rhymes and stuff like that. But really listening to the radio, that started in South Africa. Springbok Radio. That's the South African station I was listening to, and the most important thing for me there was the top 10 every Saturday afternoon, and I was keeping score. I think about 7 or 8. I was noting, you know, just writing down the top 10 and seeing the changes in the next week and see, oh, that, you know, okay, now the Beatles have overtaken the Stones or whatever. So I was really into that, and it never stopped from there on.
And do you remember some of your favorite bands or acts from that time?
Well, of course, the Beatles, and but there was also a South African band, the B.E.D. I liked, but I virtually loved everything from These Boots Are Made for Walking, from Ned Sinatra song, the Hazelwood composition, all kinds of stuff, you know. And of course my mother was an influence in always singing around the. Our father had left, so it was my mother and 3 of our sons. I have two brothers, and I remember her always singing Sinatra, and so we got a love for Sinatra from her.
Yeah. So around what age did you start making music yourself?
Well, that was around. I was 10 or no earlier, because we also participated in a competition in South Africa. I think I was 8 or 9, and we'd have our first own composition. My brother and I, my brother Ferdi and I, called That Horseshoe Town, and we came and on the day of the competition. They said, okay, and here are the swing kickers. That was our name. And I went to the microphone, and my brother failed to show up because he thought it would be a disaster. So that was okay. That was a sign of a sign of things to come. But so that was the first thing. But professionally, our first recording. Record-wise was when I was 16 and my brother was 15.
Yeah, okay. I also read something on the internet, and it says that you were 11 years old when you were offered your first record deal. Is that true?
That's true. That was in South Africa, but then we left for Holland, So that didn't take place, but it's true.
Ah, okay.
True.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah.
So by the time I was 16, I thought, you know, chances for a career over, you know, I mean, we're over the hill, you know, because we had often this.
But you were a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this interview, we're going to talk about the Falco track Rock Me Amadeus, which is probably also your most successful release ever. That one came out in 1985. Was there anything that did inspire you when you started to work on Rock Me Amadeus?
Yes. Well, I must, if you let me, I'll just talk you through the genesis of the song, and on the Me it's a record.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's still active.
Yeah, I think it's still.
Yeah. Okay, and at that point it was very you know, people were shopping for new products, and so but at the Me my brother wasn't there because he was on a cruise, and I got offered the manager of Falco, who had a hit with Der Kommissar, and which I loved. He asked me, Horst Borg is his name, and he asked me at the meeting. He said, "Would you like to produce and compose for Falco?" So I said, "Well, I love Der Kommissar. So give me a chance. If you give me a chance, you know." So I went home, and I went home on a Wednesday. The day after that, I saw the movie Amadeus, the Milos Forman movie. It's about the life of Mozart, but in a very specific modern way, also with colored wigs and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, looking at the screen, I thought, hey, there's a crazy Austrian guy on the screen, and Falco was also a bit of, you know, different. I thought, well, it's a perfect combination. It's too easy. So, and then the day after that, I composed the song Rock Me Amadeus. Yeah. So it was, and recorded the demo the day after that. So it was very simple.
Yeah.
It was just too simple. You know.
Can you tell a bit more about the production process from Rock Me Amadeus?
Yeah. So I made the demo, and I sent the demo to Austria. Falco didn't like the song. He turned it down. He came to Holland. That's the first time we met, and he went the first day. He came into the studio, and he fell into my arms. He opened the door, and he fell into my arms. He was completely drunk. So we sent him back to the hotel. Next day he came in. He was sober, and he refused to do Rock Me Amadeus. So he said, "I want to do a song by the Cars, a car song." And he had German lyrics to it. So we said, okay, we'll record that, and the song which Ferdi had written. I don't know what it was called. Okay, Man of the Western.
Yeah.
But at the end of the session, you know, Horst Borg, again, his manager, said, okay, Hans is Johan Hulsel, is Falco. His real name. So Falco said, Falco will he'll give it a try, Rock Me Amadeus. So then I thought, okay, well, if he does it, he has to be coached, because I want it in a specific way. And so I stood next to him in the studio while he was doing his interpretation. I fired him on, you know, could be more there, or on a shout here, and so that became Rock Me Amadeus, the first version. It was a hit. It was released as the first single, which we did, and it became a hit in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. Yeah. It was a big success, but America was not yet convinced. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a bit.
Okay.
Do you remember like what kind of equipment you did use for the production of the first version?
Well, it was the same as my demo. It was a 808 a Juno 60, a Lindrum, and well, probably I'm not that learned about. I use the equipment and I produce and I know what I want, but I'm not a technical guy. I'm a song guy. I'm more a composer and also a producer, but I need an engineer to do that.
Yeah.
So don't expect many technical details from me.
Yeah. But I just heard before the interview, you still have the 808, right?
I do, and I still use it. Yeah. I use it again now.
Yeah. Do you still have the Lindrum
and the Juno? Yeah.
Good. So yeah, what was the most difficult part of the production?
Well, the most difficult part, it was because, as I said earlier, it was a hit in 3 countries, in the German-speaking territories, but it wouldn't go beyond that. And but there was the A&M had picked it up, a huge record label. Jerry Moss was a big fan and of the M of A&M, but this version, they released it twice, the original version in America, and it wouldn't stick. They wouldn't play it. Then I made a different version. It was a 12-inch version to start off with. Salieri remix, I called it, and I used a lot of different elements, and I really would like to, and that is where my love lies for creating songs and different stuff. So if people are willing to listen to the Salieri version after listening to the original Rob Amadeus, they will hear a couple of different things. An introduction by an American voice.
Mentioning all the dates.
Mentioning all the dates, exactly, of Mozart's career, ending with Falco recording this song, and a bit where I asked a girl singer, Lisa Boret, to do a Chaka Khan-like vocal.
Is that Lisa Boret?
Yeah.
Didn't she do was it like in Dutch we had the goede tijden, slechte tijden?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
she did as well. She's very versatile.
Yeah.
But I asked her to do her Chaka Khan bits, and that became a bit baby rock me, do it to me, rock me. And I asked a saxophone player, Gerben Westveen, to do a saxophone part, but do it as if he was part of the Muppets. Oh. He said, "Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm a professional saxophone player. I mean, I have a reputation to uphold." So I said, "Well, give it a try." So he did stuff, and it was all very slick, and so I said, "Well, do it like the Muppets, but just give it a try." So he did, and that's what ended up on the record. So
was he happy with that actually?
No, because he said, "Well, I refuse for you to use this." I said, "Well, I refuse to use this. I mean, I'm paying you for this session. I can use whatever I want." No, well, in the end, I just used it. And the nice thing is that when it went to #1 in the States and in England, then he came. We had a different session, and he said, "Well, actually, I should have a percentage of Rob Amadeus." I said, well, "How is that? How did that come about in your mind?" He said, "Well, it is the sax solo which makes the hit, which is responsible for the success." So I said, "Okay, well, that's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice."
Yeah. So you came up with the idea to make the new version?
Exactly, and then it was cut. It was a 12-inch version. Then it was they gave it to, I think, a Canadian DJ. I don't know his name because we were so busy we had so many requests for production. Roger Chapman, people we only dreamed about producing, and we were so busy, so we didn't even know who did the edit. But the Canadian, they called it the American Canadian edit, and that became the single. They sped it up a little bit. Now you also have a different version, which is sped up even more. Oh, really? Yeah. But okay, so that became the successful international Rob Me Amadeus.
Yeah. So Rob Me Amadeus made it to the #1 position of the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. This was the first time, and I think also the only time, that a song in the German language made it to the #1 position in the USA. Were you aware of that?
Well, I heard it because 99 Luftballons, 99 things.
Hot air balloons.
Air balloons, yeah. that got to #2. So that was nice because I wrote the verses in German because I had this German, because I lived for 3 years. I lived in Germany doing the kindergarten and the first class of the Volksschule. So there was enough German for me to do this very simple German. Er war ein Panko und er lebte in der großen Stadt. That's very basic German. So that's what ended up on the record, and so I think that's I'm very well, sort of proud, that I'm me as a Dutch guy, getting a German lyric on a production and being the only German lyric.
Yeah, exactly.
To the #1 spot. Yeah.
In which other countries did it become like a #1 hit?
Oh, a lot. Yeah. We got platinum, gold from everywhere. Yeah.
Was this the first time you had like a #1 hit?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. No. In 1981, I think we had a #1 hit with in the army now. You're in the army now. In Scandinavia, 5 weeks #1 in Norway, in Sweden, I think. But that was not close to what this was.
But #1 is #1, huh?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many copies of the track have been sold worldwide?
I don't, but millions.
Yeah.
Also, the money was coming in the millions. It was enormous. But also, what I just mentioned, the requests for production or for songs. We even in that phase of because another song in the army now was in the same time frame. It became a big smash hit. Well, everywhere except America. But so we were. When there was an overload of requests for production. But so we turned some people down, like Celine Dion.
No way.
Yeah. So in retrospect, you think, how could I have done that? I mean, okay.
So which famous artist did you came requests from?
Well, Celine Dion is the most famous. I think that's the one that comes to mind. But we got the chance to work with very interesting people. For instance, Roger Chapman, who was a very renowned figure in the prog section. He was with Family, a band which the older viewers, if you have older viewers, will remember. But also Claudia Brücken, who had dual with Propaganda.
Oh yeah, good voice.
Yeah, good voice. So we did stuff with her. Also with Perils of Plastic, which was the accompanying band with Steve Neve of Elvis Costello. So it was from left to right, and that's the way I loved it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So when I was doing research for this interview, I found out that in the Salieri version, Falco says "Fuck me Amadeus" instead of "Rock me Amadeus" at one point. Did you know that?
Not really, but a good. I'll listen again.
Yeah. I'll tell you where.
Yes, thanks.
But I think that one was played also on UK radio. So, and I think also on in the US. So.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, the track is...
I embrace it. Yeah.
So the track is over 35 years old now, and besides new remixes, there have been some cool cover versions as well. The Simpsons did a cover version, for example. The Bloodhound Gang used a part of the track.
Yeah.
And even Metallica did cover Rock Me Amadeus when they did a concert in Austria back in 2008.
Very good.
Plus in 2022, Rock Me Amadeus was used in season 4 of the popular Netflix series Stranger Things. So, what is your favorite memory when it comes to the release of Rock Me Amadeus?
You mean the cover version?
Like all together. No, your favorite memory in general.
In general. Well, maybe it's this. I was an enormous Beatle fan always from when the Beatles started.
Yeah.
I was in the 63, 64. I was that age that I could really. So I was an enormous Beatle fan, and there was Falco received an award. You have a magazine in Germany called Bravo, and Falco had won Artist of the Year, and he was on a photograph next to Paul McCartney holding the award. So I thought, okay, this is it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's maybe 1 or 2 degrees. So I think I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, for sure. And last but not least, I heard there's a Falco musical in the works called Rock Me Amadeus Das Falco Musical. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's going to be huge. It's going to be it has its residence in one theater, the Ronacher Theater in Vienna, and I'm working on the musical. I'm going back and forth to Vienna for the musical, being a creative consultant, but also adding to. A big percentage of the songs will be ours, the songs of my brother and myself. But my brother has 2 new songs in the musical. I have 2 new songs in the musical, and the 2 new songs that I composed in the musical I did not compose on my own. I did that with my son Justin, and it was our first collaboration on a professional level. He does his own stuff. He has a terrific album which is waiting to be released. Albums, and he has an enormous amount of material, and he's going his way, and it has nothing to do with the stuff I did. I think it's very good. But he was on board for when I said, well, let's do this together. So he also came to Vienna to watch the musical and see when the song fits, and so we did this together, and the premiere will be in October 16th, I think. In October of that 2023. So because this will be watched maybe beyond that. Yeah. So everybody's welcome to visit the musical.
What kind of style are the songs? Because you said you made 2 new songs, but Falco is not around anymore. So.
No. It's the 2 songs are in key places in the musical. One is when he has a writer's block, and that is he not being able to come up with words and stuff like that. It's a nice scene in the musical, and it's also nice to musically translate that. And it's called A White Sheet of Paper, and it's Falco like I would produce him now. Yeah. Not going back to Rock Me Amadeus or the other songs. Yeah. And the other song is because Falco his real name is Hans Hulsel, and Hans Hulsel is a very nice guy, very easygoing, but Falco is he has this image, and he could be fucking pain in the ass, and so could I. It wasn't a one-way thing. So that was nice. We could really clash, but then it's something creative would come out of it. Okay. So but as so this other song is interesting because it's more or less a duet between Falco and Hans Sulzel. So Falco takes hold of this guy who, well, is not very ambitious, but turning him into Falco makes him, this. So he's a kind of a devilish kind of, persona, different. And it's two people on stage. Yeah. So it was interesting to compare.
Yeah.
And that's where my son made a very long end sequence, and the arranger Michael Reed, who's very good, who does the arrangements for the production. He said, "Well, it's how did you come up with this Bruckner style ending?" I thought Bruckner. I went home and listened to Bruckner and told my son, so he was very delighted. So
yeah.
But I think it's a great it's really theatrical.
Yeah. So in October, everybody has to go to Vienna, or you think they will tour the world, maybe?
Well, Japan wants it, Germany wants it, but the first year will be exclusively in Vienna.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I bet you're super excited for that.
Yeah, I am super excited. Yeah.
And the last question: pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Or no?
Is that a trick question?
It was just like a silly question to end the interview with.
Okay, then no.
You don't like it?
No, I don't.
It's no for you. Okay.
No, okay.
Well, thanks a lot for your time and the great stories.
Okay.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, the story behind Rock Me Amadeus by Falco, my interview with Rob Bolland. Rob, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And I did 3 more interviews with Rob. In the video description you can find which interviews you can expect in the next couple of weeks. So make sure to keep an eye on my channel for the other 3 interviews with Rob Bolland. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.